All right, you're welcome back. We're going to be switching gears now with our conversation, and I have here with me Glory Enyinaya, a researcher and consultant. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to be talking about change implementation processes. And I know when people hear that, they think of the APC and the change talk. Is that what we're talking about today?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, change is broader than merely social change. So basically, there are three aspects of change. There's personal change, there's organizational change, and then there's social change.
Okay.
So, there's a process called the ARCA process that could actually apply to all three levels of change, depending on what you want to get out of it.
Okay, the ARCA process. That's ADKAR.
Exactly.
Awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement.
Yes.
Does this apply to all three?
Yes.
How does that work?
Okay, so in personal change, so for example, if you're trying to change your lifestyle, maybe lose weight, start exercising more, quit smoking, or just enact some kind of change in your personal life or personal improvement, you will start by creating awareness. So about the need for exercise, say you start noticing your clothes don't fit as well, or friends start passing comments, so there's communication and you kind of get to know that, okay, there's a need for change. But most times, because humans tend to be lethargic and a bit complacent, you don't necessarily want to change until a higher authority gets you to change. So in the personal change example, maybe you go for a checkup, a medical checkup, and then your doctor tells you, if you don't lose weight in 6 months, you're going to have a heart attack, or you're going to die young. Exactly. And then you're like, oh, okay, I've always known I was big, but I actually have to do something about it. So willpower now comes in. But then it's not enough for you to know that you need to change. You also need to know how to change. So that's where the knowledge comes in. And then it could be from your doctor. They tell you, still using the weight loss example, tell you the calorie content of your food, they educate you, exercise, diet, things like that, how you can change what you need to change. But then, again, just knowing what you need to change is also not enough. You need the ability to change, because you could, you have all the information in your head, but then you're confronted in a situation where you're staring at a slice of red velvet or something, and you know that, okay, I know this is not good for me, but what do I do? So if you have like an accountability partner or something, you could call a coach, and then the person preps you up, and then you gradually change. And then after you're able to change, the final piece of the puzzle is reinforcement. So say you change your wardrobe, or you get lots of comments from your friends. Everybody goes like, oh, you look great. And then that reinforces, the celebration of your success tends to reinforce the change. So it becomes a way of life. It's not just something you did for 3 months and then it ended. So that's how it plays out in personal change.
I want to talk a little bit about personal change, what the practical ways are, if possible. I know it's almost as if I'm paying you now. I'm supposed to be getting free consulting, but I know there are people who watch. Every human being, I'm sure, has one addiction or the other. Like you said, chain smoking or sweets or whatever it is. There's almost always a habit you're trying to break out of. What are some practical things you should be doing if you are trying to change that habit?
Okay, well, really, the ARCA model is still the way to go, because people tend to see change as something that is mystical or out of their reach. So they go like, I wish I could, like I said, drop this habit. But with the process, it kind of puts you in the driver's seat. So you are able to put in place the mechanisms that you need to effect the change. So, like I said, beginning with awareness, you go and actually get information about what you want to change. So if it's smoking, you want to stop smoking, you need to go and get aware about what the side effects are of continuing your smoking. Then desire, you probably need when you're aware of the need for change, and then like I said, a medical personnel comes and tells you what the consequences are, you realize, okay, if I keep smoking, I could get lung cancer or something like that. So you then want to change. And then there's the knowledge. I think there are lots of innovations. There are e-cigarettes and things like that you can take that reduces the nicotine levels and keeps you safe. And then the ability, so like I said, your accountability partner, and then you now reinforce the change with just give yourself a reward, a treat, celebrate the success, and then the change now gets to stick.
I don't know if this is particularly your territory, but you find that when people are trying to drop a habit, they almost always replace it with another. Is that normal?
You mean when they're trying to
Maybe
drop
break away
a
from
bad, a bad habit?
Bad goods, they're trying to stop something. I know people who say, okay, I quit smoking, but I took up drinking coffee.
Okay.
You know, things like that. Is that normal?
Well, like I said, there are different ad hoc approaches to
Yeah.
change. So for some people, they try to do it with replacement, but it doesn't have to be that way. So, like I said, if you follow the process that I mentioned, then you will find out that you change, and the change is positive. It's not negative, and you know you don't pick up any bad habits. So it doesn't have to be that way.
Let's talk about organizational change now. How does that work there?
Okay, so organizational change really has to do with institutions, corporates, that maybe they want to implement a new strategy or a new culture or a new, or to pick an example, the recent decision by NMPC to unbundle, do you remember, that led to the strike. So that's a change that they were trying to implement. But, most people also tend to think, oh no, change is for large initiatives. Every change actually should go through the change process in order for you to reap the maximum benefits. So it would start for the employees now, because most times when there's a change in an organization, the people that are affected are the employees first and foremost. So awareness, there needs to be communication about the reason for the change, and then you know what's in it for them and things like that. And then you now need to stimulate desire. So everyone wants to get promoted. So when your direct line manager, your supervisor comes and tells you, this is the way you have to do things from now, you tend to want to. If you move from awareness to desire, you're like, okay, my boss has said that my job is going to change, so I need to change. And then knowledge, so there's training, you know, staff get sent on training, and then ability, coaching. So usually the organizations I work with, I usually encourage them to identify change agents. So like people within the organization who are like super employees that are going to manage and motivate their peers to improve. So those change agents act as coaches that stimulate ability in the employees, and then reinforcement. So you celebrate the early adopters, and you chasten those who aren't getting with the change, to make sure that the change becomes the way we do things around here.
Yeah. Does this apply to both small or big organizations? If I'm an SME with a small staff, does it apply to me as it would apply to a top 5 bank?
Absolutely. It's just that the scope would be different. So I've worked with small organizations. I've also worked with multinationals, leading change even across West Africa. But the interesting thing about the change model is that it's really quite scalable. So depending on if the model could work with an individual, then definitely it can work in a small business as well. It's just a matter of application, and then being focused on the outcome that you want to achieve.